All right, we are recording. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Hope Weston, and I'm a diamond, and I started back in September of 2015, so it's 2.5 years that I've been in the business. And when I started 2.5 years ago, I was working 2 jobs. I was working at a grocery store and as a bartender. I was in 3 classes, and I was planning my wedding. And also a lot of people, like, I forget to say this part, but I also didn't have a phone. I only had a laptop for like the first month of my business, which is crazy because if you guys are in this business at all, you know that our phones are literally never even out of our hands. So, but I learned how to make this business work for me, and it was a lot different back then. The tools that we had available to us and the training that we had available to us, but I figured it out and I made it work for me. So that I could have the freedom of time that I have now, which is that I work a couple of days a week serving. I'm not in school, and I get to hang out with my very noisy bone-chewing dog all day. He's literally being super noisy right now. I'll mute myself when I unmute you guys. So I think so this is basically how we're going to do it. So I'm going to unmute you guys like one at a time, and then I have like a series of questions. So the first one is like, introduce yourself and where were you before you started It Works, and what, if anything, originally held you back from joining, and then kind of just like finish your story and tell us where you've come since then and all that good stuff. So I'm going to start with Ashley, I think, and I'm going to mute myself. So hold on just a second here. All right, Ashley, you're on.
Hey, guys.
So who are you? Where were you before you started? And what, if anything, originally held you back from joining? And what have you done in your business since then?
Hey, guys. So I joined, let's see, back in 2014. So originally I was working part-time to full-time at a local bra store. I was actually Morgan Griffin's supervisor. So if you all know who that is, I was her boss. And I was working probably like 30 hours a week. I was living at home with my parents. I wanted to go back to school, but I couldn't afford it. So things kind of sucked. I kind of felt like I was in this dead end, like didn't know what to do with my life situation. So I was working as a supervisor, and Morgan came to work one day and she was like, hey, so I started this really random, crazy business. I work it on Instagram. So you're going to join me. And I was like, no, absolutely not. Like I said, I don't know what kind of voodoo, weird nonsense you're getting into, but I don't want any part in it. So she actually wrapped me at work in the fitting rooms in the back. And all it took literally was that one wrap. And I was like, all right, fine. I'm in. Fine. Whatever. I don't know what you're doing, what kind of magic this is, but I'm totally in. So I actually was a loyal customer before I started as a distributor, and I got greens. So I was taking my greens every day, and Morgan, I kid you not, every day was like, you're going to join this business. Like, you're taking these greens every day. You feel amazing. And you're telling people you feel amazing, yet you're not making money from it. So I was like, you know what, homegirl, you're right. So I finally gave in, and here I am many years later, and I'm still with this business. It's been probably the greatest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And it's not something that I really talk about, but I mean, Morgan knows. So when I first started, I had really, really, really bad social anxiety to the point I could not even go to Walgreens without having a full-blown panic attack. Like, I could not walk into a Walgreens to get shampoo. I could not. And it was so upsetting to me, the fact that I literally, you know, you're like, oh, oh crap, I ran out of deodorant. I got to run to Walgreens and get some. I could not even do that because my anxiety was so bad. I could not talk to anybody at the counter, whatever. So ironically, I was like, Morgan, there is no way I can work this business. Like, there's no way. So after kind of starting with Instagram, I started telling my story and how I couldn't do little things in life without having these crazy panic attacks. And the more I talked about it, the more I was able to open up to people, to talk to other people, to understand other people. So joining this business literally has made my anxiety turn into like my why. At the beginning, it was like why I couldn't do this, why I couldn't join this business, why I couldn't make money from home, why I couldn't reach out to random people on Instagram. And then all of a sudden it was like my why. Like, I can do this even though I've had this issue in the past. Like, so the more I talked about it, the more it became like my reason why to do things. I was like, you know, if I can do this, anybody, literally anybody in the world can do this business. If I can go from having panic attacks at the entrance of Walgreens, like, you can literally go diamond. There is no doubt in my mind. So I went diamond in, I think, about 8 months, and I went back to school full time. So that is what I'm doing now. I am in school full time. I'm working part time doing makeup, and I work this business full time. So if y'all don't think you can do it, you definitely can in whatever situation you're in.
I love that. That's literally what the Zoom is all about. Like, if you think that you can't do this business, we're all here to tell you that you can because of XYZ, the reasons that we're gonna lay out for you. Thank you so much. Actually, we'll come back around. I'll have more questions for you. Okay, so I'm gonna do this again, and then I'll go with Carley next. We'll go in alphabetical order.
Hello.
Hi, Carley. So, who are you? Where were you before you started this business? And what, if anything, originally held you back from joining?
Okay, so my name's Carley Guerrero. Before I joined this business, I was a full-time hairstylist. I graduated. I don't really remember. I think I graduated in like July, maybe, in March. And then I got my job in the hair salon in July. So from July to January, I was working full-time as a hairstylist, and I absolutely loved it because that was my dream. Like, I always wanted to do hair. I love makeup, and I just wanted to make people like feel confident about themselves and like feel pretty. And so the salon that I was in was like my dream salon. Like, if I had to like just pick out of all the salons in the world what salon I wanted to be in, like, this one was just perfect. I loved everybody there. It just had an awesome atmosphere. But I was a brand new hairstylist and jumped right into booth renting. So if you don't know what that is, that means that I was having to pay $500 a month just for my chair on top of providing all of my own product. And so each month I was probably spending about $800 on rent plus my products and bringing home anywhere from like $200 on a good month, $400 to help my husband with bills. And it just kind of got to a point to where we started falling behind because I wasn't helping as much as I kind of should have been. And so I started praying for like any opportunity to come into my life. Like, I didn't care what it was. You know, I was just ready for something that I could do like on the side of doing hair that could help my family. I didn't want to go back to waiting tables because I did that for like 4 years and I just hated it. And so like once I got like my cosmetology license, I was like, I'm never waiting tables again. And so even though I needed that extra money, like I just didn't, that was like a last resort. And probably about like 2 weeks after really like praying about my business, I followed Courtney Bohr on Instagram. And I was scrolling through because like her Instagram just sucked me in. It was like her pictures, her captions, her lifestyle. I was like, who is this girl? What does she do? I need this in my life. And so I'm like scrolling through and I saw the picture about how she paid her car off and I was like, okay, what? And so I like kept reading it over and over again. I was like, okay, this is real. And I like messaged her at the time, I literally had no money in my bank account because as I was doing hair, like I would come home and then I would like, or on my way home, I'd have to go pay bills or like go get groceries or go get diapers or go get formula, go get something. And so it was like I was making money and then spending it. So I wasn't really bringing anything home. So I talked to Courtney 3 days later. I was like, okay, I have a full day booked at the salon. Like I'm going to have some money. I'm going to join you. One of my colors actually ended up canceling on me. So that $100 that I was going to use for this, I didn't have. And so the $300 that I did make was supposed to go, I think it was paying water, electric, and another bill, but I don't remember. Well, I paid electric and like whatever this other one was, but I didn't pay water on time. Like I was just like, I'm gonna like not pay our water bill and like join this business because Courtney was like, you can start making money right away. You can get weekly dollar bonuses. And so the way that I looked at it was like, I'm gonna like temporarily invest $99 and then like get it right back. And then I'm gonna go pay my water bill. And so that's what I did. I hit the ground running. Like I literally joined for an extra $200 to $300 a month because I was like, if I'm doing hair, bringing in $200 to $400, and I can like be bringing this in, like that should help enough with bills. And like we got so behind on bills that our water had gotten shut off, our heat had gotten shut off. We had 3 cars repossessed. I mean, it was just like we were struggle bus. Like it was just bad. I joined this business, took off running. At first, I was literally like, I would tell myself, like, you're not going to make it very far in this. So, like, don't get your hopes up. But then it just became so much more. Like, I caught the vision. I saw what the company was about. I saw what the products were doing for me. I was having so much fun. I was meeting new people. And in 4 months, I went diamond just from, like, every single day working my business. And I joined in November, and I didn't leave the hair salon until the end of January. But all of that time, I went Ruby in that amount of time. I was in the salon full time. Like I would get there at like 11 o'clock. And then I wouldn't leave until 7 or 8 at night. So I was at the salon. I'd come home, spend time with Berkeley, spend time with Brad, have dinner, give her a bath. And then once everybody went to sleep, I was up until like 3 or 4 in the morning working this business, watching videos, teaching myself, like, what do I need to do? And, here I am going double this month. So it's all your mindset.
I'm going double this month too, girl. So exciting. Okay. Hold on a second. So now we're going to go to Kasey. Hold up. I'll find you. All right, Kasey. Oh, that was weird. Hold on. Okay, I think that one worked.
Yeah, I don't know. It gave me some weird pop-up.
Oh, that's weird. So who are you? Where were you before this business? And what, if anything, originally held you back from joining?
Okay, so I'm Kasey. For those of you guys who don't know me, I'm a diamond. I went diamond in my first 5 months of my business. I work full-time as a head athletic trainer. So for those of you guys who don't know, I work in the course of my business. I've now worked at 2 different colleges. And basically I'm responsible for the health and well-being of all of the student athletes on campus. So at my first institution I was working at when I first started my business, it was about 160 student athletes. And now it's about 80 to 100, depending on the season. So when I joined this business, I joined at the end of October in 2016. I was actually planning on joining like probably 2 or 3 weeks before I ended up actually joining. And my fiance talked me out of it because we had tried other businesses like this and I didn't have any success. So why was this business going to be any different than what I had tried before? So then I ended up messaging my enroller after I actually saw that same Courtney Bohr post about her paying off her car that Allie had posted, and messaged Allie. We talked and I signed up that day without a second thought. And then I didn't really do anything for like the rest of 2016. I enrolled customers. I didn't promote anything crazy. But then in January 2017, I promoted to executive, February Ruby, and then March Emerald and Diamond. And I earned that Go Fast, the $10,000 Go Fast bonus. Left in June my job because I really hated it. I hated where I was. I loved what I was doing, but I hated where I was doing it. So I made the decision to leave, even though I didn't have another job lined up, because I had this extra income that I could rely on through the summer. And then I ended up getting a new job that's a little bit closer to home. My fiance and I still aren't living together right now, but we are a lot closer to home, so it's a lot more reasonable for us to go and see each other when we do have the time. And I'm still doing the same thing, so I'm still working between, like Hope was saying in the very beginning, I work between 12 and 16 hours a day, usually 6 to 7 days a week. And we start early and we go late. So I usually, on a regular day, I go to work between 9 and 10, and I usually leave between 10 and 11, if not earlier. If I go in for a longer day, then I start a lot earlier, and I have about a 40-minute commute each way. So that adds up too.
Crazy, Kasey. Oh my goodness. That's amazing though. So I guess we'll kind of just, since you're already unmuted, I'll kind of just like go back, like I'll just go back the other way now since I have you on here. So you kind of just told us like what your schedule is like now. You said like, so you work 6 to 7 days a week. It's like long days. And then if I'm correct, like you can't, like you're not on your phone. You can't have your phone unless you're like on a break, right? At your job.
Yeah, so I try. So from like 2 o'clock on, usually I'm at practices. So I try to avoid being on my phone while teams are actively practicing. But during the first half of the day, I get called into meetings. I'm doing treatment with my out-of-season athletes, those kinds of things. I have a little more flexibility with my schedule before 2 o'clock hits.
Okay, so this is kind of like, I feel like there's two kinds of very busy people. The first kind of very busy person literally plans like every second of every day. And the second kind of busy person just literally just wings it and just like knows kind of what they need to get done and just kind of does it. So which one would you say you're more of?
I'm kind of a combination of the two. Okay. I definitely am that person that knows what needs to get done and just gets it done. So like when I was in the process of going diamond, I knew that by 2 o'clock, I like had to have a certain number of posts done. And when I was going diamond while I was working at that first job, I thrived. I thrived off power hours. So all day I would be posting and following, and then I did all my messaging at night.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you absolutely have to like, it's easy enough to like take a pee break and like make a post or like, you know what I mean? But like messaging and like responding to people, like that's the part of this business that I feel like takes the most time, is just those conversations that you have with people. And so you prioritizing those power hours 100%. So yeah, so that was my question. Like, so tell like on a daily basis, like what, like lead us through a day in your busy life, like while working your business.
Okay. So usually I get up between 6 and 7. Obviously some days are different than others, and I try to post and I'll follow right away, before I even get out of bed. And then I usually will do my stuff in the morning. I'll like make a story of me making my shake for breakfast or doing whatever I'm doing in the morning. And then when I get to work, usually around 10 or 11, I'll throw up another post, get some more following done. And then I always try and get that third post in for the morning before practices start in the afternoon. So around 2 or 3 o'clock, I'll get that next post and following in. And then I usually post, if I get a hot second, I'll get another post up around like between 5 and 7. And then another post around like right before I go to bed, like between 9 and 11, or depending on how late I'm staying up.
And then you said that so then you'll just like sit down for like an hour when you get home, and you'll just and that's when you message. You'll just send
so usually I come home and I'll eat dinner first, and then I sit down and I'll message, and I'll just I'll just usually sit down and message for like a solid 2 or 3 hours. Like if that's what I'm doing, then I'll just rotate it. So I'll message and then I'll follow, and then sometimes I'll interact, and then I just keep going through that rotation until I decide I'm done.
Right. Awesome. Well, that's great. Well, yeah, it just goes to show, like, you know, work, like, there's all, like, there is time to post, and like since Instagram's being weird and it's only letting you add so many people anyways, like, there's time to, like, it does not take very long. It takes like 2 minutes to like put up a post and add some people, and then you just have to set aside that time for messaging. So thank you. Okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna mute you again. All right, Carly, I'm gonna come back to you now. Okay, so now, so you tell me, so like what is your schedule like now? And then are you more of the person who like plans like every second of every day, or do you more like kind of just know what you need to get done and kind of wing it?
So I want to be the kind of person that everything, but honestly, I'm probably like maybe half and half, maybe a little bit more like the scatterbrain with a little bit of planned out kind of. It's just really hard having a 2-year-old because she's never on the same page as me, and like every day does not go the same. So like we might have a good day today and tomorrow just might be a complete disaster, and so I never really know like how the day's gonna go. Before I was pregnant, I was getting up and like, you know, having coffee, doing personal development. You know, I'd get some messages sent out like before Berkeley woke up, and then when she woke up, like have breakfast, post, you know, stuff like that. Now it's like so chaotic because I'm finally in my second trimester, so I feel good now. Like I have so much energy and I feel better. But when I was in my first trimester, like I literally would get up out of bed and be so sick that I had to like just lay on the couch all day. So I was getting a lot of messages sent, but I just had no energy and was just like sleeping all the time. So it was just kind of like crazy. So I'm not really on any set schedule. I just know that like every single day there's certain things that I need and want to do with my business, and I make sure that I get those done. So I make sure that I send at least 100 messages a day. I make sure that I'm posting at least one business post and one product post a day on like my actual, you know, like Instagram and Facebook. And then, you know, posting to my stories just however many times. I do like at least one poll a day. What else do I do? I have my calendar, and so I follow up with people because as I'm talking to so many people, like I have names all over the place. So basically what I do is I just wake up and have coffee and like get work done as the day goes, because I do this full time and Brad's home full time with me too. And so it's like if I just tell him like, hey, like I need like 30 minutes to sit down and work some, he'll be like, okay, and him and Berkeley go play. So it's super easy. But before, when Brad wasn't home, that was when Berkeley was younger and more like she would cooperate a little bit better. And so like when she took naps,
she didn't know the word no yet.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Like now I'm just like, stop. Or like candy. And when she wants something, like if I give her like a bowl of chips, she's like, no, I want the whole bag. And I'm just like, Lord, give me patience. Like, please. But you know, before when Brad wasn't home, she would cooperate with me a little bit more. So I'd always wake up before her, get work done, spend time with her. And then once she napped, I knew that I had like a solid hour to 2 hours in the middle of the day. And I would just have like a power hour. Like those were my thing. And then, you know, spend time with her. Cause I never wanted her to feel like I was spending more time looking at my phone and on my phone than I was with her. And so I always make sure that like throughout the day, like when she's awake, that I'm like giving my attention to her, but I'll still like post and respond to messages. But my main time to work is just like at night once she's asleep. That's when I really sit down and focus.
Absolutely. And I think that that's something that a lot of moms in this business like worry about or like can't seem to like quite get past, is that idea of like, but if I'm with my kids, I want to be with my kids. I don't want them to have this vision of me just like staring at my phone. And so I think that's a really great example of like, you can still post, you can still respond to a quick message and still be like present with them.
And there's things, I got this tip from Ashley Meredith because she's a mom of 3 now. But she said that what she does, like, as her kids are, like, asking her, like, can we go outside? Can we go do this? Can we go do this? She'll tell them, like, okay, let mommy send 25 messages. And so, like, once Berkeley gets old enough to understand that, like, we can go do that, but let me do this real quick first.
Right. And then they understand, too, like, you're lucky that mommy has the freedom to do this because she's going to sit here on her phone for 10 more minutes and then we'll go.
And see, like, too, like, it's that fine line between letting your why, like, motivate you or letting your
Don't
why
let your why be your excuse. Yeah. Because everyone's like, oh, I'm doing this for my kids. But, like, I don't want to take time away from my kids. And it's like, honestly, at the end of the day, like, your 5-year-old is not going to remember the 10 minutes that you took to send messages before you took them to the park. You can still take them to the park 100%. Like, you just have to, it's just about priorities, which is my next question. But thank you. I'm going to go to Ashley real quick and then I'll come back around. All right, Ashley, so your turn. So what is your schedule like nowadays? And do you extra plan everything or do you just kind of know what you need to do and wing it?
Okay, so I am the hottest mess you could probably find anywhere. Hence why I had to rush home to get onto the Zoom because I can't get my life together, which is fine because I feel like this is a majority of us. I feel like none of us really have.
I literally just did a Facebook Live about how there will always be chaos. There will always be confusion. There will always be, you'll get a flat tire, a kid will get sick, this thing. And it's like, if you are waiting to work your business, or like I was talking to my potentials because I was like on Facebook Live, I was like, if you're waiting to start this business because you want to wait until like everything's going well, like you will be waiting your entire life. Because let me tell you, it's just when you feel like you have things figured out that everything goes to crap again. So I love that. I totally love that.
That is like 100% my life story. It doesn't matter. I could literally plan tomorrow down to the minute and none of it will go right. And that's fine. Like that is just my life. I've accepted it. It's fine. So I've basically done like the minimum list. I know I need to message this amount of people by the end of the day. I know that I need to get following done or unfollowing. So basically, I get up in the morning. The first thing I do, I always set my alarm. I'm in school full time. I work part time, and I do this business full time. So I'm always like crazy. So I set my alarm between 6 to 8, depending on the day. So I get up. The first thing I do is I make sure that I eat breakfast because that is the thing that gets me going in the morning. So I have my keto coffee, I eat breakfast, and I make a life post. So there is not a day that goes by that I miss a life post. There is no reason you should ever miss a life post, whether it's getting up in the morning, going to bed at night, having lunch, dropping your kids off at school, stopping to do homework. It doesn't matter what it is. So I always get in my life posts and I make sure to do my Instagram polls for products. So I always make sure there is a balance too. So that is my minimum. My morning is like the time where I get everything done and I make sure that I get in my life posts, my Instagram polls, and then product posts. So then lucky for me, I do go to school online, but it is full time. So everything is super excelled and I have a very short period to get things done. So I will literally eat breakfast. I get all that done. I go downstairs. I do my homework. And they always say you should take about an hour to 2 hours of doing one task. And then you need to have at least 15 minutes of something else to break it up. So I will do an hour to 2 hours of homework. I take 15 to 20 minutes of either messaging, posting, or follow, unfollow, or all of the above. And that is how I break up my homework. And if you're not having fun while you're posting or following or whatever, you need to turn some jams on and get it going.
Absolutely. And I love that because I think but I also think the same thing can be said for working your business. Like if you're sitting on your work in your business for like 2 hours, like get up, like put down your phone, like shake your hands out, take a breath, listen to a good song, drink a tall glass of water. Like if you are one of those people who like power hours hard, like if you guys are on my power hours in the morning, you guys know after 30 minutes, I like make you. I'm like, all right, everyone put down your phone, stretch out your fingers, like take a breath, take a drink, like, because you have to just like you have to just shake it out, because otherwise you're not going to be doing, it's about working smarter, not harder. And so if you're sitting there for 2 hours, you're going to start getting sloppy. Like that's just kind of what ends up happening. So I love that. So you said that you just like, you have your minimums, you get a lot of stuff done in the morning, which is me too. Cause by the time it's like 9 o'clock at night, I'm like, I'm done. Yeah. I can't function. And so then you just make sure, do you have a certain time of night that you're like done, or you just kind of like respond to messages and stuff until you go to sleep?
So I get into bed between 9 and 11 o'clock at night. But when I get into bed, and I know it's different for everybody, but when I get into bed, that is an hour of work time. So if I go to bed at 9, that means I'm really going to bed at 10, because I'm giving myself an hour of work time. So I always plan ahead when I'm getting into bed, that I know this is how I wind down as I get to work and I start messaging. So that is like the last hour of my day is just messaging people.
I love that. And isn't it like, it's so good when you wake up in the morning and you have like 30 messages in your inbox and you're like, all right.
It's a way to start your day.
It's a good day. Here we go. Yeah, I love that. Awesome. So once again, since we're on you, we'll start with you for this next question, then we'll go back around. So these are kind of the same question, but I guess the real question is, how do you stay organized? Like, do you have a planner? Do you have a notebook? I know some people use Google Sheets. What's your system for making sure that you don't miss people, you're following up with people, and yeah, your crazy life just stays, like you said, you're a hot mess, but I'm a hot mess too, but I still love my planner, so.
Oh yeah, so basically I have a planner that I take with me everywhere. It's small enough too.
Mine is too.
Yeah. You shove it in your purse. Mm-hmm. So again, like I was out at dinner, I shoved it in my bag and you're good to go. It doesn't matter. So
right.
I use that, and then I do utilize the notes on my phone to keep track of people, to keep track of really good posts that I see, to, if I want to like schedule things out so I know I have to do something tomorrow, I can write it in my notes. And then, if I can't get to my planner right away, then I know I have to put it in my planner. So I actually use kind of both. I use planner and my notes on my phone to make sure that I'm getting everything done when I need to get it done.
Yeah, I think all of us are about to just say like a planner, but literally like just having a planner where you can, if somebody tells me the 30th of July, like I'm gonna go to July, and like you bet your butt I'm gonna send them a message on that day, and that is what you use your planner for. Like, and just if people say, sometimes I'll be talking to people and they'll be like, well, I don't really know, like I'll just write them down for the end of the month. Like I'll just be like, oh well, they don't know, so I'm putting them down for 2 weeks from now, because
like you're about to know. You're about to know.
Right. Exactly. Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. I'm gonna go to Carly. We're just gonna keep going back and forth. So hello again, Carly. So yeah, so how do you stay organized? Do you have a planner? Do you use your phone? What's your go-to?
So being organized is like my jam. Like I
love it.
This is my thing. Okay. So y'all get ready. So I actually I'll show you this massive binder. Like,
oh my God.
Like everything is in this. Like everything is in here. And it's got like, which y'all don't have to be like an organized freak like I am. I've just always been this way. But I better pull it out. I have a binder too. I have my binder. I've got my current customers, current like new distributors, like my charts, like my pencils lists. Yep, everything. Put it all in there. like what I do is I printed my Facebook friends. So I have those in here. I have my Instagram friends. I have a tab for potential loyal customers, potential distributors. My steps to success is in there. And then my charts for everybody like on my team. I'm like a visual person. And so anybody who's like on my team who is promoting and who's like working with me, I have a chart made for them just so I can know like, okay, so Sally's working on her Ruby promotion. Like I can look at it and like see what she needs. And then I too also have my planner. And the way that I use my planner is like, let's say that like I talked to somebody today, like I'm going to write their name down on today. That way I know like this is when I started talking to them. And then if they sign up, then I highlight it just so I know like, okay, they're done. If they don't sign up, but they give me like a date that they can, I just scratch their name out and put their name on the day that they told me. But then what I do is on Fridays, I just pull out this planner and anybody's name that's not highlighted or scratched out, I send them a message.
Right. And how do you just work your way back? Or do you start at like January 1st and like go down?
Yeah, I'll start like I just got this planner and so this starts in February.
Like, because I have my planner from last year too.
Yeah.
And so like sometimes I'll even follow up like out of my old planner.
Yeah, I still have all that stuff. And like what I was doing before I really started using my planner is I had a piece of notebook paper like in my potential loyal customer section, and anybody I talked to about customers, they went on that list. Anybody I talked to about being a distributor, they were on my distributor list, and that's how I followed up.
But I have lists for when, because I'm getting phone numbers now on Instagram, but I don't really on Facebook because I feel like it's Facebook Messenger. Like you can call them, you can FaceTime them. So anyone who I talk to on Facebook goes on a list, and I have one for potential distributors and I have one for potential customers, and that's in my binder.
Yes.
And I follow up from there every week. Yep. That's awesome. I love that. Do you, like I said, like, would you go back to like the beginning of March and just like work your way through the names?
Yeah, like I'll do this month, and then once I finish this month, I'll go to last month. Once I finish last month, like I'll go to the next. And I kind of just do it in spurts, like as I can message. But I mean, like this month, since I'm like so close to double, I am messaging people from like the November when I signed on. Like I have all of those lists. I'm like, okay, if you're not highlighted or scratched out, like I'm sending you a message. So
yeah, like taking 30 minutes to scroll to the bottom of my Instagram Messenger just so that I can follow up with you, even though the last time we talked was a year ago. Yeah.
Yes. And there's so many people who like I've been messaging this month who I've followed up with like literally every Friday since I've been in this business, and they're just now signing on. So I've like followed up with them like so many times. Like so many times it's ridiculous.
Yeah, like 40 times.
Yeah.
So I literally just signed a customer who I've been following up. Like I went back and I counted, and like it was literally like 42 weeks of me being like, sup? Like, are you gonna order? Like, what's going on? And she wouldn't always respond, but she would respond like every 2 or like at least once a month. And so that's how I knew like she was still like I knew she was still interested. Yeah, exactly. So awesome. Well, thank you. I'll come back. All right, Kasey. Oh my gosh. Oh, people are hopping off and on. It's messing up my groove. All right, Kasey. So tell me, how do you stay organized?
Okay, so I have a binder too, but I really just keep my charts in there, so it's not really all that exciting. I do everything in my planner. So I was an Erin Condren planner person before I even started It Works, but then I actually switched over to the Happy Planner just because it had more room for everything I needed to put in it.
I did Erin Condren last year as well, and I ended up switching to this one is a day designer. It was like $15 at Target, and every day is a whole page. So it gives you like your to-do like hourly, and then it has this other spot for to-dos, and so I have like all this room for names. It's awesome.
So this is last week's planner because we're on spring break, so my schedule is like a hot mess this week, but I use the top, if you guys can see, the top boxes here are where I keep my practice schedule, just so I know what's going on in every given day. And then this section I use for games, and then this bottom section I use is all It Works stuff. So I try and keep it color coordinated, but everything's changing so often, it doesn't have. And then I also keep my checklist, my daily checklist in here. So if you guys, I don't know if you guys can see it, but on the top row there's 2 boxes because I'm focusing on writing a little bit better quality posts and maybe a little bit less often per day. And then the next one is a row of 10 boxes. I push for my minimum of 100 messages a day. So each time I send out 10 messages, I just check off a box. That's how I keep track of how many messages I'm sending a day. Then the next row is another row of 10 boxes. That's for my friend requests. Because obviously you always want to be expanding your market. So every time I send out 10 friend requests, I check off another box. And then the bottom 2 rows are for my 2 Instagram accounts. Just making sure I'm keeping track of how many people I'm following and making sure I'm meeting my daily minimums and doing the things that I need to do to better my business. And then I also, in those boxes, keep track of people that give me dates. So like all 3 of these people gave me a date for tomorrow. So I'm obviously going to be following up with them tomorrow. But if they don't give me a date, then they just go onto a list and I'll just follow up with them every Friday. But this first girl that I'm going to be following up with tomorrow, going back to what you were saying earlier, Hope, this girl literally, I messaged her probably in like October or November of 2017. And she was like, I turned 18 on March 16th. So I literally went and I put her on March 16th. And
I
like,
have so many 18th birthdays in my planner. It's a little embarrassing. Like they're like, oh, in July. I'm like, girl, if you think I'm not hitting you up in July, like you don't know me. So that's awesome. I love that. Okay, very cool. So I'm gonna try to, just because I try not to have these. Oh, my Zoom is kind of freezing. Is it me or is it Kasey? I think it's Kasey. I think I'm okay. I'm the one recording, so hopefully it's not me. Yeah, it's definitely Kasey. I'm trying. We'll give it a second. Oh, I'm trying to mute her and it won't let me. That's weird. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think she maybe just went out for a minute. Maybe we'll jump to Carley if she doesn't come back. Oh, she's back. Okay. I can see you again. Hold on. I'm gonna mute you. Because I'm gonna ask, I don't like to do like super long trainings. I know we're only at 45 minutes, but I do have just a couple more questions. And I'll kind of combine them. So Kasey, I'm gonna unmute you again. Your favorite like app or like trick for saving time in the business when you're super busy, and then also when you do get to that point of like overwhelm, like where you've like you know there's so much and there's all this and work and you're planning a wedding now, so you know where I was when I started this business. How do you take care of yourself enough to get back into it, or how do you like overcome that, I guess? So your favorite app or trick for saving time, and then how do you cope with feeling overwhelmed?
For those of you who have iPhones, Captivate is definitely the best thing that I've ever added to my business. I know there's been like some problems with Instagram, like not getting you your followers, even though you're doing the following with Captivate. But I use it now too for unfollowing, and it makes it so much easier because I can just load everybody up in there and unfollow. Because you can unfollow like 200 people an hour. So it makes it a lot easier for me to stay on top of my unfollowing because it would get out of control sometimes. And for when I get overwhelmed, I try and just take a step back. I do try to make time every day for me to get a workout in and like to take a shower, because I know like a lot of people like get into that like crazy work mode and they like literally don't shower for days. But like I feel so much better, and it gives me a second to like kind of just be by myself and kind of do my own thing and take a deep breath. So I try to make time to make sure that I like it sounds so ridiculous that I'm taking a shower every day, but it really gives me that time to take a deep breath, put my phone down, and let kind of everybody fend for themselves for 20 minutes. and then I get back into it from there.
I love that. And I think, I understand, promotion mode and working really hard, but something that I just kind of is my own personal value, like I feel really strongly about, is that time that you put down your phone, you walk away, do something that take a bubble bath, go work out and then take a shower, like watch your favorite movie, like just take that time just for yourself, just to anybody who knows me at all knows that like I'm Mrs. Manifestation, and you cannot manifest and be in a positive mindset if you're like exhausted and like feel like trash and haven't done anything to make you feel good like all day. So 100%. Thank you, Kasey. Actually, I'll ask you the last question, so we'll kind of just come out. So what would be your one, somebody comes to you on your team and they're like, Kasey, I have 12 kids and I go to school full time and I live in a shoe and like, just, you know what I mean? They just like come at you with just like, I'm just too busy. Like what would you say to them? What would be your one tip for somebody that comes to you that just says, I'm just too busy?
I want you to take a step back, look at the non-negotiables. Like you obviously need to spend time with your kids. You need to, I don't know what, like you need to do your homework,
Right.
Whatever you need to do, the non-negotiables. And then, in making the checklist and incorporating it into my business has been a total game changer for me, because it, like, every single day, you know what you need to do. And it goes back to like what you've talked about in past trainings as well, about daily minimums and reaching your goals. And just having that checklist keeps me on track of the things that I know that I need to do every single day to keep my business growing.
Right. It's putting your business tasks up there with your other priorities. Like you've got priorities with your school and your kids and your house and your job. Okay, put your business to-dos right up there on the same exact list. I love it. Okay, so we're going to go back to Carley. All right, Carley, so this is kind of a three-parter, so we can go one at a time since we're going to do it this way. So what would you say is your favorite app or trick for saving time in your business?
Okay, so my favorite trick is definitely the text replacement. If you have an iPhone, I don't really know if Android, I don't know how it works.
I had heard at one point that there was like an app for Android that would like do it for you.
Yeah.
I don't really know either, but
the text replacement has like, oh my gosh, it's insane, because literally it takes me probably, like, I timed it like 22 minutes to send like 75 messages. Because all I'm doing is I'm like going to somebody's profile, and then like for a loyal customer, I just type LL and it pulls up my loyal customer message. I send it, go back, find
mine
somebody
is
else.
HH.
So definitely
That's so funny. Mine is literally saved as HH in my
Mine's
phone.
just like
if
LL.
I type HH.
I have L2, L3, L4, and then like I have some for distributors, but literally like that is like my favorite thing. I love the text replacement.
Yes. I'm going to just show them real quick. I think I'm the active speaker right now. I'm just going to show them real quick. So if you have an iPhone, you go to your settings, and then you go to general, which is just on the very first one. And then you scroll down to keyboard, which is under date and time, and it pulls this up, and then you just hit text replacement. And like, look how many I have saved, because it's all my product info, it's my messages, it's my explaining the 90-day program, explaining what we do. I have stuff for like excuses, like I have busy with 2 Y's is like my little spit out for like if people tell me they're too busy. I like have my like, girl, I feel you. Like I was working 2 jobs and planning my wedding when I started this. So that's, Jessica just said, if I say it more than once, it goes into text replacement, which is just, if more than one person in my life has asked me the same question, I'm putting the answer in my text replacement. I love that. Okay. So then when you're feeling overwhelmed, as we all do, pregnant mom of a 2-year-old, how do you like take care of that or take care of yourself, or how do you kind of overcome that in your life?
So my thing, like especially now since my hormones are like literally all over the place. Whenever I start feeling overwhelmed, like sometimes like I'll just come and sit in my room in the dark and just like sit here. Or taking a bubble bath, like you said, that always calms me down. Even sometimes if I'm taking a bubble bath, like I can still be in the bath, like sending messages, and it just like makes me feel good. But whenever I really start feeling overwhelmed and like things start to get to me, because the thing about getting overwhelmed is if you don't get it, as the second you start feeling overwhelmed, if you don't start doing something to fix it, you're going to get in a funk. Okay. And the whole reason that you're in a funk is because it's your mindset, because you're choosing to feel overwhelmed. And so what I do is I just pull out like one of my, personal development books. I start listening to podcasts. I'll get on YouTube and type like motivational video, watch some of those. Sometimes I'll read in my Bible, or just like go outside and like listen to music, just something that's going to like calm me down. So, because you definitely, like, you have to make sure, like, this business is 80% mindset, 20% actual work. You have to make sure that, like, you're on top of, like, your mind and just, like, not letting things, like, really get to you.
No, absolutely. And I think that you nailed it just right on the head when you said that when you start feeling overwhelmed, you need to take care of it. Then don't wait, because if you wait and you like put it off, you're going to put yourself into a funk, which is way harder to come back from than just a bubble bath or like sitting in the dark for a few minutes. Like that was me.
Being home all the time, it's super like I'm home all the time. I work from home. Brad works from home. Like sometimes I, don't wash my hair for like a week, and then I'm like, oh crap, like I need to go wash my hair. And so sometimes it's just something as simple as like taking a shower, shaving my legs, and doing my makeup, and having like a selfie day that like really just like
having a day that like you feel like good in your body. Yes, absolutely.
Like, and even like here for a while, like I've kind of noticed like, well, especially like whenever I was really sick, I just had no energy to do anything. Like my house was a mess, my laundry was piling up, I was a mess, like it was just like everything was a mess. And so I just felt like down and discouraged, and because everything was just so messy. And so once I started getting energy, I literally like cleaned nonstop. I did so much laundry. I did my hair, did my makeup, did all this stuff, and it like pepped me up, because I was like, I'm about to,
I got this.
Yeah.
Right? Well, it's like you're like, I can do this. Like I'm getting my life together. That's me right now. We literally have a huge pile of laundry, and I haven't done the dishes in like 2 days. And
it helps your confidence. Yes. Like I think that that's something that's super important, is like with this business, if you're home all the time, make sure that you're still making time for yourself by taking showers and doing your hair and makeup every now and then, because that is going to make you feel good. So
yes, absolutely. I love that. Okay, awesome. So just like I asked Kasey, somebody on your team comes to you and she's like, oh my God, Carley, I am too busy to work this business. I have kids and a school, and I live in a shoe, and I have 3 jobs, and she just comes to you with all, like, she just lays it on you. She's like, I'm just too busy. What would you say to her?
First, I ask her, like, why did you get started? Why are you doing it? Because that's gonna like trigger her. Like, most of us are doing this for our future, for our kids, for whatever reason. That's gonna get her thinking of that. And then I'll ask her, like, if, like, you quitting this, is it worth it to you? Like, for me, I could never quit, because I can never tell Berkeley, like, sorry, but you just weren't worth staying up all night, or you weren't worth, like, all of this stuff. And so, and also, like, sometimes I tell my team, like, whenever they come to me and they're, like, I say this to them all the time. Like, if anybody comes to me and they're telling me, like, I'm feeling down in the dumps, like, nobody's doing this isn't going wrong, I literally tell them, like, you need to get over it.
Yeah.
Like, you need to just build a bridge, and you need to get over it, because if you push through, like, what's on the other side is going to be so amazing. So it's just figuring out why you're doing this and sticking to it, and just getting over, you're only as busy as you make yourself. Like y'all were talking about priorities. Like, I say, like, I am too busy. Like, I have to clean the entire house. I have like 4 loads of laundry to do, like all of this stuff. Like, I have no time to work my business. But as I'm like Swiffering the floor, like, I can be responding to a message. So it's just like, it's kind of like where there's a will, there's a way. Like, if you want this to work for you, you can make this work for you.
I just always think about like absolutely 100% I understand like being in school and like being super, super busy, you know, like having classes, having labs, having tests, having, you know what I mean? Like having projects, having papers, and it's just like, okay, but like you can be talking to people while you're doing homework. You know what I mean? Like you can read a page and then send a message, and then read a page and then send a message.
And that's what's so awesome about this business. And I love talking to Shay about this. Like, she can be studying for her test, but while she's studying, if somebody messages her about a product, well, you can take 2 minutes out of studying for your test to respond to this message and then get back to studying. Even walking on campus. Like, I mean, and that's what you know, between classes and stuff, it's like, you know, they're like, oh, you know, I just need to, you know, study. And it's like, I get it. There was a lot of school stuff that didn't come very easy to me too, but it was kind of like what Ashley was saying, and I'm going to go to her next, but it was kind of like what Ashley was saying, like, after 2 hours of doing homework, like, you need to do something else. Like, you need to, like, get up and have your brain be, like, you can't just study chemistry for 6 hours a day and, like, expect to be okay. Like, you have to do something different with your brain, and it's actually better for you, and you'll study better, like, when you do it. But I love that. I'm going to start using that. Get over it. I'm just going to be, like, get over it. And that's, I don't know if you listen to Gary Vaynerchuk at all, but he was like, I'm going to start a talk show called And people are going to come on and they're going to be like, my house burnt down. He's going to be like, and? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and then what? And then what? Like, when people come to me and they're saying, like, it's not going my way, or nobody's messaging me back, or, you know, business is slow, or I'm just too busy, or I don't have time, or this, and this. I'm like, you're the one that chose to join this business. I didn't make you join. You came to me wanting to join. You did this on your own because you saw what it could do for you. So are you just going to throw in the towel when it gets a little tough, or are you just going to push through? Right. I love that. That's awesome, Carly. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Okay. Here. Well, I like forgot that you were at the top, so I like lost you. Hold on. I'll go to Ashley. All right, Ashley. Last but certainly not least, what is your favorite app or trick for saving time?
I am obsessed 100% with Buffer, especially when you're in school or you're working full time, whatever it is. So you guys know I work part-time, but when I do work, it's 7 to 8 hours, whatever, a day, and I'm not allowed to have my phone, and, you know, I get my break, and that's it. So I take frequent bathroom breaks. They probably think I have problems at work, which is fine. I don't care. But I'm in the bathroom 24/7, probably once an hour. It's all good. Messaging and whatever. So get your buffer together. That like hour you crawl into bed at night, buffer your posts out. If you know the next day that you literally have no time to post, buffer it. Just buffer it. And now they do the thing where you can like copy and paste and whatever. You can add your Instagram into it. So that helps a lot too. So use Buffer. I use Followers, the Followers app. To follow and unfollow, and those two apps is what I use every single day.
I was the queen of setting up posts. Like on Sundays, I would take like 3 out. Like it was my only day that I worked brunch, and so I would work like 10:30 to like 2, and then I would come home, and it was like my only time, and I would literally take like 3 hours, and like I'm not even joking, you guys. I would set up like 40 posts. Like either on Buffer or just like in my notes, like captions and pictures, like saved. And this was back when we were like super heavy 3-3 rule. And obviously like some of the things that I'm doing now are changing, where I'm doing more like 2 or 3 posts a day. And then I'm just adding like to my story and stuff. But, you know, back in the day when I needed to get out 3 product posts and 3 life posts, and I knew that I needed to do that, I would literally set up 40 posts, 20 product posts and 20 life posts in my notes, so that I could go to the bathroom and I could copy and paste and I could post it real quick, like every single day. So, and people I think don't, like they don't realize, like you said, like taking that out, like even just 30 minutes before bed and like setting up posts just for the next day, like 3 or 4 posts, 2 product posts, 2 life posts for the next day, like it'll make a huge difference in your schedule, like huge. So thank you for adding that. When you feel overwhelmed and like a hot mess express gone, hey, not just a hot mess express, but a hot mess express gone haywire, as will happen, what do you do? How do you take care of yourself? How do you push through that?
Okay, so there's probably 3 major things that I do. Number 1 is I have dance parties in the car while I drive, because that's normal. 2 is I do go to YouTube and go to any sort of personal development that you can find. Whatever like gets you in your feels is what you need to stick to. So something that might work for somebody doesn't work for you, that's fine. But find what works for you and do it daily. It doesn't need to be an hour long. If it's an hour-long video, break it up 10 minutes at a time if you have to. Will Smith is my jam on YouTube every day. So I do that. And number 3 is I do yoga every single night before bed. Before my bedtime routine is literally like 2 hours long, which is fine again. So before I get into my hour-long bedtime routine of messaging, I do yoga every night while I listen to Will Smith or whoever is, getting me in my feels. I do that while I do yoga.
I love that. Because we didn't really touch on personal development. And I think that that's one of the biggest things about being a busy person, being somebody, with anxiety that has a lot of things going on, that it can be very overwhelming. Carly's a mom. Kasey has this, long, stressful job. You're a student. You struggle with anxiety. I've struggled with anxiety. Like, believing in yourself and if you find yourself getting all like, I can't because you need to put your headphones in with some Les Brown, Stay Hungry, some Will Smith, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, some Tony Robbins, some Gary Vee, he swears, but I love him. You need to put that in your ears, and you need to know that you are capable of doing this beyond anything, beyond what can happen, beyond your 2-year-old screaming at you, beyond, what I mean, beyond your anxiety acting up, between a really stressful day at work. You need to know that you got this. You're capable of it. Doesn't matter what the day throws at you. You're, a badass bitch and nobody can mess with you. And you just have to own that. And personal development, we don't come into this business knowing that, but we grow into it, and personal development helps with that, growing into that mindset, which I love. And I love your car dance parties, because I do that too. Or just in my house, I'll just turn up Spotify and dance and scare my dog. So just like I asked Kasey and Carly, so teammate comes to you and she's like, oh my God, Ashley, I just have 12 kids and 3 classes and 7 jobs and I live in a shoe and I can't, I'm just too busy. What do you say?
Literally, and since I've joined, this has been my go-to. And it may be because I worked with this kind of stuff, but it's Nike. You just do it. At the end of the day, you, Oprah, Obama, Beyonce, Jay-Z, whoever you look up to, you all have the same amount of time in a day.
Amen.
And
amen.
You're getting this done and they're getting this done. So I'm going to be up here with everybody else while you're down here. So at the end of the day, that's all you can do is you just do it. That's it.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love that. Oh my gosh. I love every single tip that every single one of you gave. I feel like this is the best training of 2018 so far. That was so awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. And I think that, I feel like this is just so good. So thank you guys for getting on. I know Ashley and Kasey got on last minute. Thank you guys so much for sharing with us. I know we had questions in the chat, guys, but this isn't really a question and answer. I feel like they went over everything that I wanted to go over. If you have more questions, you can comment on some of the posts that I made or that Allie made about it, and we'll try to get back to you. But yeah, I just love, get over it, just do it, prioritize it, okay? That is what this business can do for you. We are all diamonds in this company, which means that we all have learned how to be successful and how to make a full-time income with this. So you don't have to have a lot of free time. You don't have to know exactly what you're doing every day. You can be a hot mess express. You can have kids, you can work full-time, you can go to school, you can struggle with anxiety, but at the end of the day, you decide to be successful in this business because it's a choice that you're making on a daily basis. And like she just said, you, me, Beyonce, Jade Hooper, all of these girls on this Zoom, we all have the same amount of time in a day. It's just what we choose to do with it that counts. So know that you are fully supported and that if we can do it, you can do it. And thank you guys all so much for getting on. This was so awesome.